Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. A brand new Thursday brings a brand new episode of the ThyGap podcast. As always, it is me being Brut, and by God's grace and the stars' alignment, we don't have bogus today because we got a really special guest, GullyTrotter. Welcome, GullyTrotter. Welcome back to the ThyGap podcast.
Hey everyone, thank you, Brute. So we are back with a bang or not. Well, you guys are to decide on that.
Yes, bangs have not yet happened. So let's not throw words just because we can. But we were here last time and we spoke about it's not easy travel.
Yeah.
And that's because you claim that you have an expertise in travel.
Did I ever claim that?
Yes, your
No.
140,000 followers on Instagram are giving you undue credit that you are a travel expert. What do you have to say about that, GullyTrotter?
Well, I don't claim that I'm a travel expert, but yes, like you said, to be precise 138k followers that I have follow me maybe because they find some sense in what I put up there about travel.
Sense is such a rare commodity nowadays. If only people had sense, they would have followed us on Instagram @_ThyGap. They would have followed us on Twitter and Vero @ThyGap. And they would have written to us on mails at mindthygap@gmail.com. Just like how 138,000 followers are following GullyTrotter. And similarly, you can follow GullyTrotter on Instagram @GullyTrotter. It's singular. It's GullyTrotter. And also the latest update is apparently she has a YouTube channel where you can subscribe, share, press the bell icon and block or comment on her videos. And the YouTube channel's name is
The same. It's again GullyTrotter only. So any platform that I am on, you guys can search me by the same name, and that's GullyTrotter again.
that's called elitism. GullyTrotter everywhere. All domains of GullyTrotter are owned by GullyTrotter.
That's right. I'm smart that way.
And here comes the elitist behavior. GullyTrotter, once again, just to give a brief to our audience that we've known each other for quite some time. And it has been an absolute mayhem knowing you. The kind of jokes that you tell and the way you laugh at other people's jokes has caused people to forget their past.
Now, you lied the last time about me. That was fine. Are you going to continue the same thing on this episode as well?
ThyGap's main DNA is continuity. Okay. By the way, we didn't launch an episode on continuity, which we will soon do. But enough about ourselves. Let's get down to the topic for today, GullyTrotter. We are going to talk a lot about travel since, our uncommon interest is travel. You really love traveling. I'm kind of like a traveler.
And unfortunately.
Yes, fortunately and unfortunately. But nevertheless, here we are. Gully Pilla. Can I call you Gully Pilla?
No, you can call me GullyTrotter.
GullyTrotter. Okay. Tell us about travel. Please, I beg you. I double beg you. Please tell us about travel.
Alright, now that you've requested so much, I'll get to the point.
Yeah.
Well, traveling for me did not begin suddenly. Neither did I know or was I prepared that I'm going to be a traveler, where I'm going to travel avidly. It happened eventually from, some of my trips where I realized I'm a very talkative, extrovert sort of a person.
Yes.
And whenever I was traveling, I really liked when I interacted with people in those places. I understood that, okay, I have a curiosity in myself where I really want to know about certain cultures in those places, how people live their daily lives, how do they do their chores, daily chores, and what are the activities they do, how do they bring stuff to their places, like, in places like mountains and especially in places where
Moosi.
there are less of roadways and more of trekking involved.
Yeah.
So how do people in fact live in those places, and what do they do? So there was a lot of curiosity that was being built. And eventually I realized that this did not have a stopover, right? I had to keep traveling to understand different cultures that existed around our planet. So that's how traveling began for me.
Okay, so it's not just the country. You want to travel around the planet.
Oh yes, of course.
Try traveling to Mars and never come back. That's
No,
my
right
genuine
now-
request.
I'm only talking about our planet.
Nobody is there on Mars, so we can claim it as ours. It's okay. It's a part of our solar system. Stop being racist about planets, Gully. But good answer. I still didn't ask the question, but nevertheless, you gave the answer, which is like you like traveling because of the curiosity it built up.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, I like traveling too. Like I'm, in my own style. What I want to know, again, see, we know each other quite a lot until suddenly you showed this avatar of I can't sit at home. I have wheels on my feet. And then, all those things.
Let me correct you. It's not suddenly. I've been traveling for 2 years now. Probably you have been too busy to, notice this.
I'm a busy guy, Gully. I'm a very busy guy. Okay, I'm a big shot. Between you and me, I'm the star. But anyways, I have 3 fans.
Unfortunately.
I have 3 fans from ThyGap. And I love all my fans. But how did you realize that traveling is your thing? A lot of people say it. But I don't quite understand how people, how they make traveling their thing. Is it restlessness or is it sheer, boredom that they get from one place? How did travel become your thing?
So you answered some part of it. So basically, other than being an extrovert and, a curious soul, what I did not like was sitting at one place and doing something that's monotonous.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a person who likes to try out new things. And I think travel is one of those activities which always get something new to you, something new to experience.
Mm-hmm.
Be it a place, be it people, be it cultures, be it festivals, anything.
Like diseases, tan, skin rashes, anything new.
Yes. It's all a part of it, right? And everything is new. Whenever I travel to a beach side, obviously the tan is just increasing. It's not reducing.
Exactly.
That is also new.
Yeah.
You're seeing a new version of your tanned face every time.
Exactly is what I'm saying. So stop glorifying travel by just saying the good things. We want the full picture, Gully.
No, I think tanning is not the
diseases,
bad side of it anyway.
Constipation, diarrhea, all these are a part of travel. You need to specify that.
So that happens when you do not take care of yourself, and it is not that you're traveling and you're constipating, you're traveling and you're getting diseases. No, it's not at all like that. There is a way you need to take care of yourself while you're traveling, and if you do that, travel only will show you the beautiful part of it.
Yes, but we will never answer those questions of what are the ways that we have to take care of ourselves during travel.
No, I think we'll come to it towards...
We will never come to it, okay? We will never reveal the real secrets. ThyGap only gives direction, not the solution, okay?
Okay, guys, in that case, for the solution, you guys can tune into my, Instagram and
Yes.
YouTube channel. Probably we can connect there to discuss this, because I don't think Brut is allowing me to.
Typical Instagram influencer behavior this is. Connect me on my channel. Wow, fantastic. Gully, is this what our friendship comes down to?
No, because in the last episode, I learned from you that socials are important, isn't it, guys?
Yes, socials are important for someone who's not an influencer, which is us. We are social influencers. We change societies. Okay?
No.
ThyGap is changing societies in very small proportion, but it is nevertheless we are changing.
Then you've not understood the real value of Instagram. Influencers need socials more than anyone else.
We'll come to that. We will answer that question. In fact, there is a parallel debate that is going that for the social plugins that ThyGap does, they deserve an award.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to know more, you have to check out the ThyGap Telugu podcast channel, where we do such an amazing social plug that we should be given an award by whoever is giving awards. But enough about ThyGap. Let's talk about you, Gully. Okay? So,
thank you.
I mean, we both are Leos, fist bump, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we both are extroverts.
Mm-hmm.
The question that is in my mind is, how come you like traveling so much and I don't like traveling so much?
Because other than being an extrovert, and being a Leo, one also needs to not be lazy when it comes to traveling. And I think we differ over there. We differ strongly.
I beg to disagree, because in physiology, I am 30 times more athletic than you.
Now that's a lie.
And
you can keep continuing to lie, but come on, at least
Can
sometimes
you
give
stop
the truth to your
overlapping me on
audience.
my own podcast? Let me complete my own sentences.
Alright, I'll wait for
Thankfully, I've known you before you became the so-called superstar on Instagram, wherein you were sitting in one place for 8 hours and just eating. Remember those days in Lotus Pond where you, me, and all the rest of the 70 people in our company were sitting in one spot for 8 hours and just eating. So don't try to tell me that you are this super enthusiastic, super active. I know the reality. Okay?
I can't forget the Pani Puri wala near that Lotus
Exactly.
Pond.
See? Skeletons from the closet. Now moving on to the next topic, which is
Thank God.
being a true traveler. So as self-proclaimed by GullyTrotter, I really want to know what it is like to travel as a female. Or even before that, I want to ask another question which I completely forgot. Do you really like solo traveling? Or are you this traveler I don't care how I travel, I just want to travel? Do you have a preference of traveling?
So wait, you're confusing me way too much. Do you want me to answer solo traveling for female first, or do you want me to answer my first time travel experience? Give me clarity. Why are you running so much in your own podcast?
I want you to answer the answer which you know. Okay? Don't try to twist it over me saying that, oh, you are asking confusing. No, it's a very simple question. What is your preference of traveling? Do you like solo traveling more, or do you like that group traveling more?
Okay, so for me as a person, I always prefer solo traveling.
Mm-hmm.
I think some
Why?
part of it, I did answer it in the last podcast, that, it gives you your own freedom. You can stop at a place for as long as you want. You can stay at a place for as many days you want.
Mm-hmm.
You can talk to people as much for, whatever long hours you want to. Right? So, and in group travel also has its own beauty. But for me personally, I prefer solo travel. Like if I have to share one of my solo, initial stages of solo traveling, I had gone to Jaisalmer with my group of friends.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I liked Jaisalmer so much that I decided to stay back. So rest of my gang came back. And so once everyone left, I was solo, obviously alone.
Obviously, that's what is called solo. Or rather, everybody left you. That's something more interesting. Why did everybody leave you, Gully?
No, let me complete my solo traveling experience. And then you can crack your weird jokes. So, suppose these guys came back, I started exploring Jaisalmer, just walking into the lanes randomly and then getting into the forts. In the beginning, it was sounding slightly weird. Why am I doing this? Why am I just walking into lanes alone?
Yeah.
But then eventually when I was crossing by those lanes, the shopkeepers started calling me. Somebody was selling books, somebody was selling kurtis. And then I started interacting with these guys just to know what do they do and what is their background, what is their experience of meeting so many travelers coming from across countries to Jaisalmer. And that interaction, somehow felt very connecting, and that led my curious soul to engage with more people in Jaisalmer. And that's when I realized, okay, I would have never done this if I was in a group.
Yeah.
I spoke to so many people. I learned about their experiences. I learned about their lifestyles, their families, and so many things that I could not know when I was traveling in group with my friends, because somebody wanted to go to a cafe and eat, somebody was tired of walking, and somebody wanted to take photographs. So whatever I wanted to do, I could not do it with them, but I was doing it now.
Yeah.
So that's when I realized, okay, solo traveling is much better because I can do what I want to do without worrying about that friend who wants to go to a cafe and I need to search for a cafe for that person.
Yeah. How old were you when this happened?
I think I was 26.
Oh, so you're like a proper adult.
Yeah, I was. I started traveling solo, after I crossed 24. But yes, these days, if I have to tell you, I've met people in their 18s, 19s as well. Like teenagers, college kids who are traveling solo.
Don't tell me. Kids nowadays got too much money. But wait, this happened at 26. But you started traveling solo when you were 24? It doesn't add up.
No. So that was not solo. I started traveling when I was 24. If I have to tell, those office travels, group travels, traveling with friends.
We don't call them solo. Solo is like top to bottom, everything is like alone.
Yeah. So that was this trip when I did it, in Jaisalmer when I was 26 years old.
So you kind of stayed back.
Yes, I stayed back. I booked myself a hostel. I'm sure you guys know about hostel. It's a chain of hostels where you get to meet a lot of like-minded travelers, especially people between 18 to 30 years or 35 years at max. I also met 2 foreigners in this trip. One was from Spain and one was from Iceland.
Oh my God.
I shared an auto with them. And 3 of us went to this place called Badi Chaudi. It's like a cenotape of all the queens who used to, live in Jaisalmer.
What's a cenotape? How come you're knowing all these words? What is a cenotape?
That's because I've been into traveling. So cenotape is like a Samshan Ghat, if I have to tell.
Wow.
Or Samadhi.
Basically tombs. You could have simply said tombs of the queens.
I did not get that word in my head, by the way.
Yeah.
Samshan Ghat sounded more.
Simplicity. That's what ThyGap rolls on.
All right, now don't go on my vocabulary, please. We are here to talk about our experiences.
My podcast, my life, my choice, my rules. Okay? You just follow the rules.
Crap.
Anyway, so you went, you met people and all that. But again, I want to dial back a little. Can you remember the first travel experience you ever had?
See, that nobody will remember because my
I
first
remember.
travel experience was with my family when I was a kid.
Yeah, whatever travel experience. Like, do you remember the first travel experience? Like, I'll tell you, my first travel experience was when I was probably like 5 or 6. And we went to Chennai for some function or something like that. I don't remember. But what I remember a lot, I remember the train journey like mad. Like, I very vividly.
Yeah, in fact, I was about to come to that. I think every kid will remember that only because in our childhood days, we either travel to our, mom's place, basically our grandmother's place, or maybe to some temples or some picnic spots. So for me as well, I remember the train journeys because I used to go to Maharashtra from where my mom belongs.
Yeah.
When she used to go to see her mother, obviously I would tag along because I was a kid. And I remember the train journeys because I would be very excited to actually see the farms that would, cross through because they were lush green.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't see those many farms in Hyderabad around the place that we stay.
Yeah.
So that little excitement, that, I'm going to see some farms and they're going to be flowers, they're going to be people working in, those farms. So that excitement, that is something that I cherish and I still remember.
Once again, your extroverted nature overshadowed my story. But I was trying to bring this point about how, your travel behavior kind of like builds from those early memories of travel. The reason is same kind of trips, my cousin who doesn't like train journeys. As much as we like majority of the kids like, he never liked train journeys. And I'll tell you why. Because he felt sick during the train journey and he had like a severe motion sickness. So he was just in the washroom all through the train journey. And if I'm not wrong, we were going to Bangalore or someplace which is not like overnight. And he just didn't sleep, for 12 hours, whatever. So he never likes the journey part.
Yeah, but that doesn't, I'm sure that doesn't stop him from traveling because he would still want to travel to places, maybe not by train, but something, through some other mode.
No, what I'm coming to, which is why you have to let people to complete their sentences, Gully. Like, this is illiterate behavior, first of all, from you.
Then you should talk to the point.
I'm bringing it is called building the premise. A lot of people, like, for me, I like the journey rather than the destination more.
Okay.
Like, I don't mind not knowing where I'm going as long as it's a decent mode of travel. It can be through road or through train or a flight or whatever. As long as I'm on the move, I really like it. Like, that's the part that I really get excited about. But there are a few people who don't feel excited until and unless they actually land in that place.
Yeah, so I think this is person to person specific. Certain people enjoy the journeys.
Yeah,
and
I know.
Some people enjoy, the destination.
That's exactly.
And some like me enjoy every part of travel.
That's exactly what I just said. You have reiterated the statements that I've given. That's all.
No, I just gave some clarity out of the, messy, confusing statements that you made.
Correct. Provided you would have let me complete my sentence. You're just butting in as if like you're on headmasters or something.
Can't help it, yeah. That's my
Yeah,
nature.
Leo, extrovert, I know the combination. I'm one. So you mentioned about your first travel and you it's the travel with your parents and all. And then we also covered the concept of the solo travel, why you choose, right? Now comes the big question, the elephant in the room.
Which is you.
Gully. Again, I'll start bringing up the physiology aspect, okay? Considering the age difference and everything, let's be honest, who's the elephant? And they can see you. They've never seen me, by the way, okay? So they will know who you are. They just follow GullyTrotters and they'll see your face. Anyways.
Alright, so tomorrow the first story I think I'll put in the morning will be a picture with you tagging ThyGap.
Impossible. I've
want me to do
officially
that?
deleted every picture of mine with you.
No, I still have some in my hard disk.
That's because you're in deep admiration of me. Since the
you-
first time you saw me. Gully, let's be honest here. Okay, fine. Spilling the beans. What was the first time you saw me? Which was where? Somajiguda? The first time GullyTrotter saw me, true story guys. The first time she saw me, she like, hi, I'm GullyTrotter. And I said, like, move aside. I don't want to talk to you. And this was our first interaction, if I'm not wrong.
See?
And GullyTrotter used to work out of a storeroom because she loved solo working. She never wanted to work along with the rest of the audience because she took too much space. So we gave a storeroom for GullyTrotter to concentrate on her work. Otherwise, if we leave her hungry enough, she'll start eating the tables.
If you don't stop this crap right now, the next thing I'm going to do
Walk
is,
out.
before we complete this podcast, I'm going to put up a picture of yours
It will.
in my Instagram story, tagging ThyGap, that, hey guys, this is Brut and here is the face.
Good news is Good news is no ThyGap guys follow you. So I'm still safe. Any which ways, we are digressing, Gully. Like, this is the problem with you. Every time you digress the topic. I was supposed to ask you such an important question.
Yeah, right. We all know.
I remember. Okay, solo traveling is fine. It's great. I completely agree. But can you tell me how it is to like solo travel as a girl? And don't take me wrong. I'm not talking in a what do you say, sexist manner. But I'm sure you have your own challenges, right? Like, I mean, it's not easy. I'll tell you on top of my head. Whenever I travel with my female female
Okay, I've got
colleagues,
the question. You don't have to exaggerate.
it's
it
no.
so
I'm
much.
trying to set the premise. One of the things that I always wondered, or I am always like trying to prep up myself, is to find a decent washroom for the girls in the gang.
Mhm.
And it's a big ordeal. As simple as it looks, or as simple as the problem sounds, it's a huge ordeal. And recently, a bunch of my friends, all couples, went to not Siachen, sorry, whatever lake in Kashmir. Okay, I forgot the lake. But they had a landslide and they were stuck for like 2 days or something in like tents.
Okay.
And then once they came back, the only thing that we heard was how difficult it was for the ladies in the group to like actually use washroom or like, relieve themselves and stuff. Because they're literally in tents and everything is open. And apparently near Leh Ladakh, there is like just plain open land. Right?
Right.
So
I think before I proceed, coming to the situation that you just narrated, that girls were stuck and there was a landslide, and for 2 days it was really difficult for them to manage the washrooms. So this is very situation based, if I have to say, because there was a landslide, and of course I'm sure there was some damage to the tents, because usually if you go, with these trekking companies who organize treks, they do carry these portable toilets.
okay.
So women can access those portable toilets. So there is no problem as such. But in this case that you're narrating, there could be that those toilets must have been damaged, or maybe they did not have those portable toilets.
No, you're talking about 500 people who are stuck. Again, it's I agree to you. It's like an exceptional case. But otherwise also, say even if I'm going by the road, okay, and say the female girls in the gang, guys can just stop anywhere and everywhere. It's very easy for us, right? But it's not the same case for girls, and it's obvious. So
Right.
I'm telling that it's not as straightforward and simple. Like guys pick up their bags and just walk out, and they can overnight drive down to wherever, Goa, Kalangut or whatever, right? So from that basic level, say, like, I mean, how it is for like a girl to go around.
See, it is slightly difficult, but I wouldn't say these days it is a big challenge. Because one, we are improving as a country, right?
Wow, political angle.
No, not political angle, but the washroom. See, if I have to share my experiences, there are washrooms at almost all the places, and there are people who are there to help you. You can always reach out to localites. But one point that you said where, the boys can stop the car anywhere and they can just go pee. There are companies building products where women can also pee like men, where they don't have to, look for a washroom. Like, I'm not sure if you guys have heard of this brand called Pee Safe. It is a product.
When you say guys, and then you talk about a product which is supposed to help you pee wherever,
Yes.
then we've never heard about it.
Then you guys should actually research about this, or just type in Google what is
Okay.
Pee Safe, and you will see that it's a product where women can also pee like men. Right?
Okay.
Then there are menstrual cups that have come into place where, women, they don't have to worry about their hygiene so much, in comparison to how much they have to worry while using sanitary napkins and all of that. So regardless, coming back to the topic, there are two sides of, solo traveling for females.
Yeah.
The positive side is that there are kind people everywhere who are there to help you out. If you have too much luggage, people, walk up to you and they tell you, okay, let me help you. Let me put your luggage in the bus or in the shared taxi.
Yeah,
There are
or
people
run
who-
away with it.
No. So let me come to
Okay.
the negative side later. I'm
Okay.
talking about the positive side first. There are kind people who are helping you out with the addresses. There are locals who are ready to, let you use their washrooms. And the negative sides are, yes, when at certain places where there are not too many people, like in mountains, like where you see landslides in certain situations that you gave, you will face difficulty, but that is not very often, right? Then there are security issues, like women cannot walk everywhere and anywhere
Yeah.
late nights where
Yeah.
it's an empty street, not too many people, because you do not know who comes from where, snatches you, or tries to hold you from the back.
Yeah.
Things like that. So at those cases, I think women needs to take precautions of not going alone in the nights, not walking into empty streets, right? And there are cases where you can't drink when you're alone, right? Because being a woman, if you lose control, or if there are too many men and you're the only woman, probably things might go wrong. So I think solo traveling for women woman is not a difficult thing in India or outside, but you'll have to always take your own precautions.
So facts being said, I just want to butt in there because you're going on a monologue and I don't like it on my podcast. Facts being said, solo travel for women is actually is a lot more about responsibility than, comfort and other things. Like the first thing, if you're a female solo traveler, and trust me, I want a lot of females to solo travel. True story. Okay. The first thing that they need to really worry about is being a responsible traveler. I mean, is that a fair sentence?
If you are talking about traveling environmentally, then right. Otherwise,
I'm talking
in what
about,
sense are you saying?
like in a sense, like you mentioned, one of the example is like a guy can get drunk and get sloshed and fall off anywhere, right? At max, he might be mugged. Right, he might lose his things, which is again not very responsible, but it is not physical damage, right? You can still go out and get up in the morning with a hangover, make a call, get help. But a girl can't afford to do that.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So what I mean by saying responsibly is, see, when you're solo traveling, and this is again out of my personal experiences, and also something kind of mimics what you were saying, is it's all about that freedom, right? Of doing whatever. And when you're alone, there are no rules technically. There are no paper rules that, oh, we can't do this today. Oh, we can't go there tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. So you have the whole platter open for you. And with an open platter come a lot of urges.
Right.
It's like, yeah, you know what, let me drink an extra pint. Or, yeah, you know what, let me just go peek and come out. Right? You know what, let me just take that walk on the beach in the night. Let me see how that feels.
Yeah.
Right? Because you are on the mode of experiencing and it's a huge adrenaline thing, right? You constantly are like super high. So a guy can kind of like, again, it's not a sexist statement, but it's like a very practical sense I'm trying to say. A guy can just like probably give in to those whims and fancies.
That's right.
So for a woman, she has to be double sure. Is it really necessary? Do I have at least one trustworthy person around me? Can I see other women who are around me? Etc. etc. And like the great Jab We Met has given the statement that akeli ladki khuli tijori ke tarah rehti hai.
True.
So did you ever experience that awkwardness as a solo traveler where you felt like, oh, maybe I'm going a little too close to comfort or danger or whatever?
Actually, no. See, because being a woman or a man, even for that matter, we all know that gender-specific pros and cons are always existing.
Yeah.
Right? Like you said, a woman cannot walk alone on the beach. A man cannot please another man. Probably if I request a man,
This is absolutely inconsequential.
No,
Why
no,
will ever
I'll
a man
tell-
please
Wait.
another man?
I'll tell you why I'm giving you this
Hey,
example.
we are talking about two simple genders who are all straight, okay?
Hold
This is
on,
general.
now you're not letting me complete.
Because it's an offensive statement.
No.
And I'm afraid where this is going. And even before all this, it's my podcast.
Okay, so let me specify it in another way.
Huh.
You always have these pros and cons, right, of being a man or a woman, right? So similarly, I think as a woman, I know that, okay, while I'm getting, a lot of freedom of traveling solo, being a female, I should also know what is right and what is not when I'm traveling alone.
Mm-hmm.
I can't risk myself looking into the freedom aspect where I'm going and getting drunk or I'm walking alone on the streets.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that because I know that, okay, there would be problems if I'm doing that. I would invite problems on my own.
Yeah.
So I don't think any female would want to do that. And I think I'm okay with it because I would want to see the other positive sides of, that I'm getting by traveling solo.
Yeah, I'm not against, like I said, I'm super pro for female solo traveling. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It is just that, like, okay, what are the hygiene checks? Like the first things first is be responsible for yourself, if not for anybody else.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
that is very important.
if you're not very disciplined as a person, like it's the same thing with a guy, right? If a guy thinks that he cannot handle his drinks, he's better off not drinking a lot wherever he is.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely true.
You don't want him to be too aggressive or too emotional or whatever and like say like, oh, I see the beach, I want to walk into it. So same way, like a girl has to, like, if it is a fair statement to say that the first and foremost thing that you need to pack as a female solo traveler is you really need to be sure about your own responsibility.
Yeah.
And what are your boundaries. Would that be a fair statement?
Yeah, I mean, more than boundaries, I would say the kind of choices you make.
Fair point. Yes. So now I'm very curious. I mean, our perspectives are very different with respect to travel itself.
Very different.
Right? I mean, I'm so intelligent, smart, like,
Weird.
really, really capturing the essence of
Lazy.
everything. And then you are there who's just like clicking photos and not even enjoying the beauty with your natural eyes. Potato. But did you come across a lot of female travelers? Can you break the myth? Because the understanding is female solo travelers don't exist as much as male solo travelers. So, in your experience, in your travels, do you think that the female solo traveler population is increasing? And if yes, then did you come across, who are the interesting characters that you come across?
Before that, you tell me, without traveling with me, how do you know I'm only clicking pictures on my travels and not enjoying the essence of traveling?
I have my sources.
No.
We will deep dive into it when the time comes, Gully.
Okay, coming to your question.
Yeah.
I think lately, since literacy rate has been growing in India, we
Political
have
answer.
seen... No.
Hashtag political answer
No. I
once
am
again.
saying this in two ways. One is I've experienced this. I've met more female solo travelers than male solo travelers during my travel journeys. Secondly, a recent article by, I think, Outlook Traveler or Cosmopolitan, some travel magazine had published this. That
Cosmopolitan. Wait, hold on. Cosmopolitan is not a travel magazine. Outlook is not a travel magazine.
Outlook Traveler is a
Outlook Traveler is a
traveler
travel
magazine.
magazine. Yeah.
Cosmo might not be, but it could have been something else. I don't remember. This came in shorts as well, where they said that in the last 2 to 3 years, the analysis have proved that there are more female solo travelers traveling currently than male solo travelers.
Oh my God! All that diversity is giving more money to women. Okay, it's a side joke, but
Weird joke.
Continue.
Yeah, so, and like I said, I've also met a lot of female solo travelers. And, strangely, we think that, women from metro cities travel a lot. That is not the case, in fact. I've met women traveling from Rajasthan. I've met a lot of girls from Kerala traveling, to places like Himachal, which is from one part of the country to another part of the country.
Yeah, obviously. That's how traveling works.
This thought that people have that, only these working women and women studying in these, colleges in metro cities get to travel. That's not the truth. So whether we give the credit to Instagram, YouTube or any other social media platforms, it has actually helped women to explore places sitting in one corner of the country and take help, of social media to travel to another part of the country.
Yeah.
And I think, that has evolved a lot lately.
Mm-hmm. You didn't answer the second part of the question.
What was that?
Did you find...
Questions are so lengthy.
Yeah, you have to catch up, bro.
Really? And you call my talks monologue? Wow.
Your talks are monologue.
What are you?
The second part of the question was, did you find or did you meet these interesting characters? Because travel always kind of makes you meet interesting characters.
Mm-hmm.
So any interesting solo female travelers where they came and told this weird story to you, or you were like, what the hell is happening with her?
So not a weird story, I would say, but from my recent experiences, I remember very clearly I met a girl from Vietnam who is again a solo traveler who has been traveling in India for 5 years now. And she liked traveling in India so much that she took up a course in some, yoga or Buddhism university in Bihar.
Mm-hmm.
So for the last 2 years, she's been also studying in Bihar.
Yeah.
And she's at the same time exploring the other parts of India, which she is not, in the previous years. So when I met her and when I got to know her, because we both were traveling for 2 days together in Gulmarg in Kashmir, she has great budget hacks. She's cracked how to get budget stays in India, how to travel in a budget, how to get the best deals. And maybe this could have happened because she's been traveling in India for 3 years already and this is her 4th or 5th year.
Yeah.
So we wanted to actually stay in Gulmarg for a night. We didn't want to go to Srinagar because it was snowing and we wanted to enjoy the beauty. So I am on one side asking the locals if there's a hotel, or a budget stay where we could stay. She is going to different people and she's like, hey, you know what? I need a stay tonight in Gulmarg and my budget is just 500 rupees. Can you find out something and let me know? So she was so outspoken and so clear in her words that we actually got a budget stay in the next 20 minutes. There were 3 people who gave us deals and we picked up the lowest one and it actually turned out to be one of the best budget stays, that I could find in Gulmarg. And some of the things that I got to know when I was talking to her was she carries fruits with her because you do not know, whether you'll get food, at a place where you're traveling in a shared taxi where you're going to go visit a viewpoint. You do not know if you're going to get anything. So she carries fruits with herself. Another thing was she uses public transport very often in India. Then the fourth thing was she's good at negotiating because she was very clear that, okay, one thing I've seen in India is that tourist places are scams. People quote you, 4 times, 5 times or even 10 times higher. and me being a foreigner, it has to happen with me.
Right.
So I start bargaining from a lower rate itself. So, I always end up getting a good deal.
Right.
And trust me, she was actually cracking really good deals. So, you do not expect a Firangi, a foreigner, to come and teach you lessons on budget travel in your own country.
Correct.
So that amazed me a lot about this girl, and it was a good learning for me too.
Absolutely. Great story. Once again, if you would have studied your socials, you would realize that a Firangi called British came and taught us about budget. Okay. So it's not a surprise completely, but I get your point. And I think this is something that I'm really in awe of, because my problem is I don't have that patience. I don't have the patience of sit and negotiate, figure out which is the best place, figure out 10 places and pick one out of them, etc. I'm just like, just go to one place, negotiate as hard as you can, and then just stay put.
No, for you, I would suggest it's better for people like you to go to Make My Trip, book a package and just go stay.
No, I can see with the package, it's not a great solo experience. I tried that too. I'm not kidding. I tried that whole package deal also once, and it didn't really pan out as I wanted. I just literally on the second day wanted to get out of the package.
No, I absolutely agree. Package sucks.
Yeah.
But for lazy people like you, it's the best thing, I would say.
For lazy people like me, the best thing is Goa. Just go, known place. You would have already gone like 5 times in your life before you hit 30. You know the place in and out. The roads don't change. It's very easy to commute in Goa, right? Lie down on the beach. That's all. You don't have to worry about anything. Some guy will come and say like, I'll give you a malish, and like, yeah, okay, 30 rupees.
Oh, now I recollect that calendar in your room which says 99 times Goa done and 100 time pending.
Yeah.
That was you, right?
That was my whole society, but yeah, I'll take the credit. You think I have that
Don't
much money
lie.
that I'm going to Goa for 99 times? Thinking too big about me, Gully. Too big.
No, I think you've been there already.
I've been quite a few times. Do you want me to dig the skeletons out of the closet?
No, thank you. Please, let's move ahead with our
Yes.
conversation. We don't want to hear your boring stories.
First of all, my stories are amazing. How do you think we have bypassed 100 episodes? Number 2.
That is because Bogus is also into the picture.
Bogus.
Thank God.
People have literally written to us saying that we sleep when Bogus talks. Which also tells me that you've not been listening to my podcast.
No, I've been listening, which is why I know you're lying right
Which
now.
episode have you heard?
Which you have been doing for the last 2 episodes.
Plug 4 episodes of mine right now.
Okay, we are not here to promote your episodes, but to talk about travel.
And hence proved. That's all I want to say. Mic drop. Unfortunately, I just have only one mic. I can't drop it, but mic drop moment. Okay, so we've covered quite a lot of things. Like we've covered how it is to like solo travel, what the travel is, female aspect about traveling and all. I have a very philosophical question. Can you tell me how do you deal loneliness in travels?
Now that depends from person to person, I would say, because for me, solo traveling has never been lonely. That could be because, like I told you, I am an extrovert. Wherever I go, I talk to people myself and they become friends. In fact, friends like family, I would say, because I have so many close friends now in so many different places in India.
And also because you owe so much money to them.
Shut up.
Now they have to become like, start calling you on Rakhi and like, or Gully, like, kya hua wo 50,000
Stop it, let me complete. So solo traveling is not at all lonely for me, right? Because I find people everywhere. And even if it's not people, even if I am trekking on a mountain or trekking to a place which is like completely empty, not even one person is there, I still enjoy my time.
Yeah.
Right? I enjoy the views. I enjoy capturing those beautiful movements.
See?
I self-realize, I do self-talking around, certain things that I have been dealing with, or a lot of these things, I would say. So I never found solo traveling lonely, but I agree, for certain people it could get lonely because you are always, you tend to be around people all the time when you're at home or when you're in office or when you're chilling out with friends. And all of a sudden you go on a travel where there's nobody around you. Nobody to ask you, hey, have you had your dinner? Nobody to tell you, hey, you know what, you should go change your dress.
Right.
Maybe your hair is not right.
Yeah.
Right? Or
you're not
carrying
presentable.
so much. Yeah, whatever. You're carrying so much luggage. Why don't you give some to me? Right? So that depends from person to person. So unless you go on a solo travel, you will not know if you're enjoying it or not.
So, but what about the loneliness? Do you think a first time solo traveler will face loneliness?
That's what, like I said, see, it depends. Like I shared my Jaisalmer experience with you,
so
right?
You never...
Not for a minute I felt lonely.
So all your solo travels, you never felt lonely?
Never.
What? Hard to believe.
No, I'm being honest.
I'm not saying you're lying. I'm saying it's hard to believe. There's a difference, Gully. It's called English.
It could be hard to believe for you, maybe because you are not a solo traveler. Maybe you like to be surrounded by people. But there could be a lot of these listeners right now who are listening to me who could be wondering, hey, you know what? I can as well travel like GullyTrotter because I want to witness those stunning views. I want my freedom. I want to talk to people who are, strangers.
Yeah.
I want to understand their experiences. So that's what I'm saying. It depends from people to people. There is no hard stop or any,
Thumb rule.
proper thumb rule here that exists.
But did you ever come across someone who felt lonely in their travel? Like who's alone?
Yes.
You did?
Yes, I've heard from some people that they've not enjoyed their solo travel. They were on a trip and they're like, okay, I'm never solo traveling again. There were people who were, in a hostel or something. Maybe I spoke to them and I told them, okay, I'm a solo traveler. We gelled up, and after a few minutes when I just passed by or I came back to pick up something from the room, I heard them talking, bhai, dude, I can never do this kind of solo traveling like she's doing. I always want my friends around
They
me.
backbited you.
Yeah, whatever you call it. But yeah.
Because I'll tell you a story of a friend of mine. Again, female solo traveler, like travels a lot. I mean, she travels on work also a lot, but generally similar like your Jaisalmer thing. And she does a lot of international travel. Okay, especially to Indonesia and eastern side of Asia. So, and this happened pretty recently and I was actually pretty surprised. She went to Bali and she was having a great time apparently. Okay, like she was going for those underground parties or like, those yoga sessions and all. Yeah, the spiritual classes and all that crap. Somewhere suddenly a switch turned in her and she was like, I should not be doing solo travel anymore. She just came back saying that, Brut, you know what, the trip was going on fantastic. Like I went trekking, I met a bunch of people, all was good, but I don't think I can travel alone anymore. I need a companion because there's so much that I'm experiencing out there and so much I'm witnessing, and somewhere suddenly I felt like I'm not sharing it with anybody. It also is kind of that peer pressure, right? You see couples, again, Bali, so a lot of couples around her and all that. And suddenly it hit her that, I don't have anybody to share it with. So it can be momentary, but I think she's still sticking to the gun that, I'm not going to travel alone again. So do you see that happening in general? Like, do you think that at some point you would be like, yeah, dude, I've done it enough. Like, I'm bored of it.
No, I don't see it happening for myself, but I've seen it happening for people where, somebody's traveling alone, maybe a guy or a girl, and they see a couple, having a really good time on the beach where they are having a candlelight dinner.
No, I want a couple to do a lot more if I'm really enjoying watching them. It's not just a candlelight dinner. There's a lot more they should be doing.
Okay, we are not talking about what you like or dislike.
I sacrificed companionship, Gully. And all they are doing is having a candle. Like, paint a good picture. That's all I'm asking. It's imagination, right?
Okay, so it's possible for people to feel that way.
Yeah.
It's possible for anyone to feel that way because certain times, when you're traveling alone, you grasp a lot of things that you observe because there's nobody to distract you.
Yeah.
Right? You're observing so many things.
Yeah.
And you do not know what observation stroke what thought in your head.
Yeah.
And you suddenly started feeling the opposite of what you like.
Correct.
Or what you dislike.
Right.
So there are changes that can happen to a person's mindset, to feelings, to experiences when you're traveling solo.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of solo traveling.
No, I completely agree. It's like there's a transformation that people go through when they are like, you need to be alone to go through such transformations. And for better or worse. I mean, there's nothing right or wrong. Like how it is, it will never be the case that I have done with solo traveling. For some people, it is like, yeah, that's it. I can't do it anymore. I need somebody with me.
Correct. And maybe after saying that, they go on a group travel or maybe, with their partners.
Yeah.
And they suddenly again realize that, okay, no, the solo traveling was, better.
Better. Yeah.
She doesn't let me go here. He doesn't let me do this. So I think I was better off while traveling solo.
Well, the future is a mystery, so we don't even want to bother about it.
That's right. You got my point.
But I got really, hung up on the point that you said where you don't get distracted when you're alone. And you grasp more than you normally do when you're traveling alone.
That's true.
What do you do with all that grasping of information? Do you write a journal? Because a lot of people write journals. A lot of like legit travelers who call themselves the wanderlost and all that, who put stickers on their bag and like who put random tattoos, buy fridge magnets everywhere they go, and they don't even own a fridge. So they keep giving it to neighbors.
Stop hinting it indirectly to me. But yes, coming to that point, I don't write journals because I'm not a writer and I'm not into writing. But what I do is, one, I grasp or I capture the moment in my head because I want to live it at that moment. And to cherish it later, I capture it in my phone or on my camera. where I make videos, I make stories. Some part of it goes on my on Instagram and YouTube, where I want to share it with my viewers, right? And some is kept privately with me, stored in my phone.
That's the videos I want to watch.
I won't show
private videos.
That's private. I won't show you anything.
Again, this is a very interesting thing, okay, which is happening a lot in the recent past. Tell me about your travel on Instagram. How did that started?
So, I think when I started traveling, I would randomly post. I think we all were, in that era where Facebook was the main platform where we would share our pictures.
Yes.
Right? With a new dress, or check-in was the trend, basically.
Yeah.
You go to a place and you check into that place. And then eventually Instagram took over, and I started posting my pictures on Instagram too. And then when my travels increased, I started posting my travel pictures with some written content on it, right? About what I feel when I see that picture, or what were my feelings.
The mountains are calling me, the rivers are flowing.
Yeah, whatever you say. And that's how it began. And eventually then I started posting more pictures, not because I wanted to become a travel vlogger, more because I would go back and see those pictures myself. And I would like it when people like those pictures. Because I felt, okay, I went to a place, I like that place, I put a picture about it, and people are also liking that place. So I don't know, this entire thing, excited me a lot. And I started posting more pictures about my travel. So my personal life pictures decreased, and my travel life pictures increased on my Instagram platform. And then slowly people started following. Like eventually it was 100, then 200, then 300. And by then, vloggers were already, up of their game. Where a lot of people would post a lot of pictures. Some had 30k following, some had 90k following.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, when I am as well traveling and enjoying it, why not I continue to post more pictures and also write about those places? So that's the beginning of my vlogging, career, or my vlogging journey, I would say. And then it just continued and continued.
So from like 300 followers, you skyrocketed to 138,000?
Yeah, that's right.
So now you have like 138,000 followers.
Yes.
At what point did you think that, oh, this is gone out of my hands?
No, I never thought it's gone out of my hands.
Seriously, when I say out of your hands, not like I'm saying that people are hounding you and you have stalkers at your house and all that. But I'm saying like to maintain, like, because once you've gotten into that, to give you an example, when we started the podcast, right, it's around that 30th episode is when we started feeling that, okay, now it has become a responsibility that if we don't put up an episode every Tuesday, then it is a failure on our part. So no matter what happens, every Thursday, there's an episode that goes in. And once the Telugu podcast started, then every Tuesday we had to put up. So every week diligently, now it is like a responsibility for us that we are like, no, we can't run away from it. We are too deep into it.
Right.
So from that perspective, I'm saying, like, at what point did you realize that shit, okay, now, when you don't put up that one post, people start asking, like, what happened? Did you fall sick? Did you die? Which valley should we find your body? Like, they start messaging you and all. Because it's too powerful, right? Like, social media is like, it's a different devil altogether.
Correct. So, social media is very different when compared to Spotify, where you run podcast, or any other podcast platform, first of all. Now, I'm saying this specifically because social media platforms like Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, they themselves vary a lot from each other, okay? In Instagram, nobody comes back to me and tells, that, hey, you haven't posted a reel yesterday, why didn't you do it? Or you haven't posted a picture. No, that is not the case. Why? Because there is so much travel content already on Instagram that your follower is also as well following 20 other vloggers who are probably, even bigger than what you are, right?
Right.
So nobody comes and questions you, but you yourself feel that, okay, since I am into traveling, and since there's so much about traveling being put on Instagram, and since now that I have so many people following me, I have to keep myself going.
Right.
Because one, I like it.
Yeah.
I love sharing my stories with the people, because then people question back about what did you do? How did you get there? Okay, give us suggestions, and all of that continues to happen. Secondly, the pressure of being there on the algorithm, not missing out.
Yeah.
Right? So these things are definitely there. And I think I realized this when I crossed 10K, because two of my reels, like went viral, like one crossed 1 million and the other one crossed 500K something, where I just, put some information about weekend places that you can travel to from Hyderabad.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about that period where reels had just come into the picture. And, Instagram was actually telling people that, okay, start getting regular on reels because you're going to get a lot of viewership through reels. So that's how it started. And now, more than a responsibility, I would say it's become a habit, and it's become a part of my life where I like to share what I do with my audience. Where I like to tell them, okay, where am I traveling today? Because they are curious souls too. Right? When I post about, okay, today I'm going to Kashmir, or, like I just posted a story today, I was in office.
Yeah.
So people ask me, okay, are you from Hyderabad? Okay, where do you work? Oh, all right, you have a job as well. So you're doing travel vlogging along with a job. So there are so many of these questions that are coming in, right? And there's so much of information that you're sharing that it becomes like a part of your life.
Right.
And a responsibility following with it.
But does that hinder your travel experience? Because just now you said that you're not into journaling. Like you do all this mental capturing of experiences and places and all. Now there's a camera in front of you. Like you constantly are, creating content, you're making reels or like a video, blah, blah, blah. And again, social media is such a huge monster. It just doesn't stop at one platform, right? Then there is this kind of like untold pressure of starting a YouTube channel or like being active on some other new app, like maybe a Snapchat. I don't know, I'm outdated with this. Is all these kind of things that have built up around your profile. Because I don't think you have a business profile. Like your personal profile is what you converted into your...
Yes.
Whatever
I don't
profile.
have a personal profile that exists.
You don't have a
on
personal
social
life,
media.
basically.
No, I don't socialize my personal life is what I'll say.
So much for a Leo extrovert. But see how I planned this. That's what is called intelligence. But anyways, I'm very curious to know that how did this improve, or like would you go back to a time like wish I didn't have to make any videos, just sit and like enjoy my travel? Do you get that feeling?
No, I don't get that because one, I'm into slow travel, right? I have stopped visiting places, for 2 days or 3 days. Now, if I plan to go to a place, I want to go there for at least 15 to 20 days. And I've explored places for more than for a month as well, right? Because I don't want to just go to a place, see the tourist or the popular place in that area and come back. No, I want to live through that place like a local. I want to explore the cultures. So while I'm doing that, in slow travel, you have enough time to capture the moments plus to feel it yourself. Like, for example, being a travel vlogger, I plan the way I want to shoot my reels. I plan the way I want to shoot my content. So, since I've planned it already, I get to that place, I shoot my content, and then I rest my camera or my phone aside, and I sit and I take the feeling. I take the experience of that place. I live through that moment. So, it is not that difficult. At certain points, it does get challenging. I wouldn't say it is not.
Yeah.
Like even in those 15 days that I'm doing slow travel in a place, maybe I'm going to a place only for a day and I wouldn't go back to that place again.
Yeah.
And there was so much to witness in that place that I slightly felt the pressure of, taking the content and also sinking in the mesmerizing views or the experience. It does get challenging, but I think I'm okay with it because, like I said, I like traveling. Plus, I like sharing my experiences with my audiences. So, I'm okay to make that little compromise now and then.
So, is that the only challenge that you have?
In terms of what you said, like travel hindrance or in connection with creating content, yeah.
But do you also get like people asking you, hey, ye kar do na, idhar jaake wo uske bare mein batao na, I want to see this particular part, like what more can I do, like, things that you might not have in your plan, but then because there's so many people asking you, then you feel that obligation, like, yaar, maybe I have to like deviate from my plan a little just because people are asking. Did that ever happen to you?
So yeah, one plus point of being, a vlogger on Instagram or on YouTube is that you shoot a lot of content which people see and then they ask you questions. right? For example, I spoke about budget stays in Himachal. So people ask me, okay, if you're saying this is a budget stay, how much are they charging us for how many days? Will I get food? How do I travel to that place? Since I've been to that place, I have all the answers. Now, something that they might ask me out of the box that I did not shoot or that I did not experience was, what are some local places where we can go and eat in that area? So I can give them suggestions based on what I had experienced. And the next time I travel to another place, I know that, okay, these kind of questions might also add up when I am, posting about itineraries or information about certain places.
Yeah.
So I take inputs from my audience questions and I improvise on my content and the way I explore for my audience in the upcoming trips.
That's what exactly what I mean when I said like that deviates you from the experiences that you have planned for.
No, it does not.
Or it elevates your experience.
It does not elevate, but it does not deviate either, because I make time for making content for my people.
Mm-hmm.
As well, I make sure that I have some time to sink in my own travel experiences for which I am traveling.
Got it.
So you need to make that balance.
Got it. But it's a little difficult for me to comprehend because I've never experienced that, obviously. So it's unfair for me to say that, it still is fun when you're like doing things for others and stuff like that. Because on paper, it doesn't look fun. Because, see, in our Telugu podcast, we get so many recommendations. We are like, that's not the direction we want to go. And people just tell random recommendations. So, if it were a simple movie review podcast, if you are getting that kind of response, I can only imagine what must be happening for you when you're actually in live, going to a place, and people are trying to like live experiences through you, right? By just making you go to places. So, I mean, on paper, it looks very daunting. But again, it might be different for you because you are you enjoy traveling, you can accommodate and all. So among all of these things, like, all the planning that you do, how much of planning goes into experiences specifically? Like landscape experience is one, right? Like, I went to Leh Ladakh, I've seen the lake, I've seen the mountains. Wow, amazing. Like I've been to Goa, I've seen the beaches. But do you also plan in terms of the kind of things that you want to experience in terms of like the adrenaline activities? Like all the places that you've been to have a lot of like this kayaking activities, you have this bungee jumping stuff and like, God only knows. I don't know how many beach places you've gone to,
Mm-hmm.
but you get the point. So what are like the activities that you have experienced or which you have like done and you felt like, whoa?
So I don't generally plan a lot of activities when I'm traveling to a place, unless that is something that really interests me and has been on my bucket list for a long time. Like in terms of like these adventurous activities, if I have to say, I've done a lot of hitchhiking across places in India.
Hitchhiking is not an activity.
No, it is. It is definitely an activity.
You mean to say there's a skill in hitchhiking?
Oh, yes.
Like what do you do?
Not every Tom, Dick and Harry will get a lift so easily on the roads.
Tom, Dick and Harry are Tom, Dick and Harry because they're Tom, Dick and Harry. If it was Selena Gomez and someone else, it's an easy sport.
Okay, let's not get there. Let's come back to activities.
Yeah.
So I've done scuba diving when I'd gone to Sri Lanka. I've done snorkeling. I've done parasailing and all those water sports in Goa. Because Goa is...
Right,
and this was in the beginning of my, travel journeys.
Amateur travel days.
Yeah, you could say that.
Huh.
And then recently I'd gone to Beer. I really wanted to do the paragliding because Beer is really, really popular for paragliding.
Where is Beer?
Beer is in Himachal Pradesh.
Okay.
And Beer is one destination where people go to become a licensed, paraglider.
Mm-hmm.
So you can enroll yourself in a course, you can become a licensed paraglider, so you can carry your parachute everywhere and you can glide, right? So I wanted to really do the paragliding in Beer, but my husband said you'll have to do it only with me when I am with you.
God, these husbands.
So I had to park it for then. But I witnessed a lot of people because there are 2 hill points in Beer. So you fly from one point and you, land at one point.
Obviously. So if you don't land, it's a very scary sport. You have to land.
Obviously, you won't be flying all the time.
Imagine you're getting into a flight and like, so we're taking off from Hyderabad and we don't know when we will land. You know how scary that is?
Okay. Let me complete.
Yeah.
So it is so mesmerizing to actually witness that people are, flying from one point and landing at one point, then there's a sunset happening. I really wanted to do that, but then, yeah, for all those XYZ reasons, I had to park it. But I know I'll go back to doing that.
Yeah.
So other than this, I think trekking is one of my favorite activities because I've trekked to some of the nicest peaks, mountains and villages in Himachal. I trekked to a village called Gargi, which is like after, climbing 3 mountains, you reach to that point and it is completely covered with snow. So that was one of my favorite experiences or activities that I did.
That's interesting. Even I like trekking a lot. I trekked a lot in my life, by the way. But not the mountains. But I trekked in general a lot. What is the thing that you like about trekking the most? You said that trekking is the most favorite activity?
No, before that, I want to catch your lie. Where did you trek to?
I've trekked, oh my sweet lord, thanks for asking me that. I have a long list of trekking. I've trekked to Skandagiri Hills, I've trekked in Nandi Hills, I've trekked, I think, Sri Salam, if I'm not wrong. I trekked in Tadoba.
You Google searched all these names, no, just to give on this podcast?
No, if you observe, all these are places which are very close by to cities, except Tadoba. Tadoba is like a little
Nobody
far.
will believe that you went trekking.
It
Nobody.
It is not about believing. It is about the fact that I trekked. I'm a pro trekker. I done rappelling also for kind information. Do you know what's rappelling?
Please go on a trek and send me pictures. No, I won't believe on
for
this.
sure. Next time when I go in the next 7-8 years, definitely.
Yeah.
For all you know, we might trek together the next time you go.
Oh, please, I'm never trekking with you. Never, ever.
I'm an amazing company
I
when
am
you're
never
trekking.
going to take that risk
You
of
like
ever trekking with you.
Gully,
You might just take 10 steps and pull me back, and I'm not doing it.
Gully, you like slow traveling. I am a slow trekker. Okay? If you take 6 hours to reach the peak, sweetheart, I am going to make you trek like you'll never forget.
That's why I'm never coming with
I'm amazing in trekking. And I'm super fast in rappelling also. You know what's
That's
rappelling?
another lie for today. So
I have proofs. I
I
will show you. I've rappelled in. I'll tell you which place. What is that? What is that Indian Grand Canyon? Yeah.
Maybe you've Google search and written in some diary check.
And this is coming from a person who's wearing sports shoes over a frock.
Shut up.
Okay.
You didn't have
Gandikota,
to
search.
describe my dress code.
That gets
It will
edited.
take a minute for me to take one picture of you and post it on Instagram
And still nobody
now.
will recognize me. The beauty about me is nobody cares.
No, I'll
That-
tag ThyGap, don't worry.
And you think still people care?
Yes, they do.
And by the way, we are at a stage where any publicity is good publicity. So, you want to do that,
So
you
you
can go ahead
don't
and
mind
do that.
showing your face off.
Yes, you can't tag me on Instagram
Why can't I?
because I removed that option. I have to approve.
Are you challenging me?
I'll double challenge you.
Are you sure?
I'm triple sure.
Think about
People
it for 2
tried
minutes.
tagging me in the recent play that I did, and nobody. By the way, all this will get edited for kind information. You're jolly talking about it.
No.
But anyways, I have went. It's not a lie, true story. I went to Gandikota. I've done rappelling. I've done trekking all through that Gandikota Canyon in March. Like peak heat. I almost died of dehydration. But okay, the reason why I was telling that example is once again, Gully. Stop digressing the conversation.
It's so easy for you to do it, no?
No,
And
it's
for me to
very
make you
difficult.
do that.
Very difficult. I'm like a laser sharp racehorse, just like pointed at the race course.
Come to the point now.
Trekking, a lot of people kind of undervalue is what I feel. And you mentioned that you like trekking.
Yeah.
And probably the most favorite activity of yours.
Yeah.
Why?
I think because there is so much that so many self-realizations that you get to know. One, because you're taking those tiny steps, in getting to a place which is your destination or your goal, right?
Yeah.
You get to know your capability.
Mm-hmm.
You basically challenge yourself to get to a point where you do not know if your body might give up, or you do not know if you have to push yourself, where you're actually pushing yourself.
Yeah.
So there's so much of self-realization that one goes through, during these treks.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most beautiful part of going on a trek. Definitely you're going to see some beautiful views, some mesmerizing, sunsets or sunrises and all of that.
Yeah.
But apart from all of this, you get that me time to realize and to look back on so many things.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like a lot of times we challenge ourselves, right? That, this is a timeline I'm going to give myself to set this financial goal for myself or to achieve it. Similarly, when you're trekking, you unknowingly or knowingly set a challenge for yourself that you need to get to this point. and you're going to get there healthy, right? And throughout that journey, the way you push yourself, it teaches you so much. I think that's the most beautiful part of going on a trek.
Yeah. The other thing about trekking that I really like, and one point that I touched upon, is the whole concept of pushing yourself. Like trekking is one of the few activities there is no middle ground. You have about like 15 minutes to turn back if you really don't want to go ahead with the trek.
No, I'm sure people like you would sit halfway also and tell, you guys go and come back. I'm going to be sitting here only. Take me back when you guys are coming back. I'm sure you've done that.
I trek with an entourage who carry me around. Okay?
See?
I'm just there for the view. I'm not there for the activity or physical fitness and all that. I'm just there for the view. People
now
carry
we all
me.
know you've never gone on any treks.
You can question it all you want, Gully. It's my podcast. I can tell anything. Number one. Number two, I can give you details about trekking like nobody else. Because the thing the one activity, the manual labor activity that I like is trekking. Nothing more and nothing else beyond that. I hate water sports. I'm not big on water. I'm hydrophobic, in fact. I'm not so keen on this.
Oh, what are you?
Altitude.
What phobic?
Hydrophobic.
Oh, good. Good you said that.
Yeah, why? Why?
No, I'll keep it in mind next
What,
time when we're going to a beach.
You'll throw a mug of water on me like hydrophobia. Is that your threat?
No,
so
that's a
cheap.
very small thing to do. I have better plans for you.
You can't do anything. You can't threaten me in any way that I can get scared. I don't like altitude also.
Don't challenge me.
I will challenge you all. I've challenged you enough that you lost so many challenges. In fact, now I'm thinking that you owe me a lot of money. All the bets that you've lost.
Crap.
What was I saying? See, this is called digression. Altitude. I'm not really keen on like altitude, like paragliding and like parachuting.
Mm-hmm.
I probably don't mind hot air balloon. That's something that I would want to do if I have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But apart from that, I'm not really keen on any of that. But trekking or anything to do with land-based activities, like rappelling is another thing I really like. I just don't get enough chances to do it because you can't do it much here. But the one thing about trekking the reason why I love trekking so much is no matter how many people you do it with, it is kind of a very lonely activity. Like it slowly kind of like secludes you from the crowd. Even if there are like 5-6 people around you, you kind of end up getting secluded in your own mind. Like that whole self-realization and all. That conversation happens because once your body gets tired, right? You are forced to talk to yourself. Like after that 2 miles or 3 miles of trekking, you're forced to talk to yourself that push a little more. Even if it is like, I can't do it anymore, I want to just sit here. The conversation doesn't stop when you sit. It keeps going on, right? So that is the experience that I like, where you're so exhausted that you're forced to listen to yourself and you realize slowly that you are a dangerous person to yourself. You're brutally honest, you're unbelievably truthful, and you're extremely critical to yourself. And after you listen to that voice and you come back, you feel a lot more at peace, right? It's much better than doing like 10 hours of workout or going and playing a sport for 4 hours or whatever. Trekking does that to you. Mm-hmm. That's why I really like that.
On that note, I think the other side of it is that, trekking is also fun when you do it in groups. Because you're not only motivating yourself, but people around you. It's like a team building activity that you're doing. You're not just going alone, but you also have certain amount of people whom you need to motivate and take them along with you.
Yeah. I think personally, if you ask me, like I would only suggest trekking in a group and not just any random group. If you're not someone who's trekked a lot in life, I would suggest make your circle with whom you're extremely comfortable and you really trust and go on a trek.
Right.
Do it enough so that you eventually will understand the dynamics of how trekking is done, what trekking is and all. And then you can go and join like these random groups and like, chalo, it doesn't matter who
and then
is
you can do it solo.
Yeah, then you can do it solo if you're so confident also.
Yeah.
Then you can bloody go climb Mount Everest. Who cares? Nobody cares. Like go. Trek to the moon. But yeah, trekking is my favorite. And whoever is not trekked ever, my genuine suggestion is you need to experience that one activity. Because you are really undervaluing the whole concept of trekking if you have not done it. And do it in a proper place. Just don't go to some KBR park or some nearby zoo and all and like I've done trekking for half an hour.
And I think for beginners, you guys can start with small treks, easy ones, so that you get a gist of it.
Yeah. The tested and tried paths.
Yeah, and then probably you can go for a moderate one, and eventually you can
there
go
are
for the
levels.
difficult ones.
There are actually levels of trekking paths, right?
Levels.
Yeah. Great. So awesome. So we've covered quite a lot, Gully. Like I honestly didn't expect that I can bear you for so long.
Neither did I.
So the final segment, Gully, I really want to know, again, this is more not so for me, but for others who really want to travel and who want to bite that travel bug. In your experience, what are the really important travel essentials that one has to make sure they have when they're going on like a solo travel or like a travel or whatever?
Okay. So the travel essentials vary on what kind of a trip are you going on. For example, if you're going to a winter place, you definitely need a lot of warm clothes. Otherwise, you're going to die.
Sherlock level intelligence.
Shut up.
Yeah, because I was planning to go to like Canada and thought like Banin is enough.
And you need a comfortable backpack because in a winter place, it's really difficult to carry a lot of luggage since you're feeling cold. So if you have a backpack, it's easy for you to wear it and just, go around places.
Yeah.
Then good shoes, which will keep you warm as well keep you safe.
Yeah.
Because in winters, since it's again cold, your nerves pull you and it's easy if you have good footwear. So shoes, give a good grip to the foot.
What kind of brands do you suggest?
I usually prefer Decathlon, but there are a lot of other brands as well, like Nike, there's Adidas. Right.
No, but aren't there like specialized footwear for like snow-based places and all that?
Yes. So in that case, I think Decathlon is the right brand because it has a lot of these products depending on the range that you want to buy them for and on the kind of weather or place that you're going to.
Got it.
Right. So you would have a lot of these trekking shoes from different price range starting 999 to, up to 10K and things like that. And then other stuff like a winter cap, then you need like warm socks, gloves and all of that. But if you're going to a place like Goa, you obviously need a flip-flop because you will be going to the beaches, you'll be going to cafes and also comfortable footwear.
Yeah.
Then maybe a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, so that you don't feel really hot and you can travel around freely.
You're giving a lot of fashion tips. We want travel essentials.
I am giving comforting tips.
For mentally challenged people, like what is this comforting tips? We want to know what are the travel essentials. Like I'll give you an example. The biggest advice I ever got for travel is never forget your toothbrush. Like you can forget anything, but
so
not
I'm
a
coming
toothbrush.
to that. Your toiletries and your towels also matter. Toiletries because it again depends on the kind of place you're choosing to stay at. If you're going to a hostel, definitely you carry your own toiletries. But if you're going to stay at a 3-star or a 5-star, they give you sufficient toiletries that you don't have to carry your own stuff.
Fair
right?
point. Yeah.
Similarly, towels. You don't get towels everywhere. In hostels and in budget places and in Oyo and all of that, you can't really expect good towels.
Yeah.
But in a 3-star or a 5-star, you will get towels. So why to carry? It's not a necessity, I would say.
Right.
But one thing that would be a necessity would be a power bank. Because if you're going away from your family for a longer time, you need to keep in touch. You need to keep them informed. So maybe a power bank will help you. Since you're traveling, you might not get, electric plug points everywhere.
Yeah.
You're on a scooty or you're in a car, you're inside Goa in a waterfall, your phone just died, you did not inform. So a power bank will just help you, do that.
Right.
Again, like I said in the beginning of a podcast or episode, a pepper spray for a female traveler, especially a female solo traveler, is very important.
And what was the other thing that you said? Be safe.
Yes.
Got it.
So P-Safe is again for female solo travelers traveling in areas like mountains, going on treks where you do not have proper washrooms. So that will help you pee comfortably and you will not really need a proper washroom too.
But I think it's not just for solo travelers. Any travel that a female does, I think this seems to be like pretty essential stuff.
Yeah, like it's a good thing to have it with you and
Got it. That's the takeaway. That's a very good takeaway, by the way.
Thanks.
That's it? These are the essentials?
Yes, I think pretty much it. Rest all are your, wants and your needs and your
fashions,
luxury products.
Yes, the unnecessary stuff.
Which you carry if you want to or you drop if you don't want.
$1 million question to you, Gully. Are you a light packer or a heavy packer? And also give me definition.
I was a heavy packer because of my vlogging. Because I always felt that, you should have extra clothes because you never know what situation you will get trapped into. What if you get wet multiple times?
Yeah.
You need to have extra pair of clothes.
Yeah.
What if one footwear, breaks? You need to have another one.
Yeah.
So I was a heavy packer, but eventually I realized through my budget travels that I walk a lot. I take public transport.
Yeah.
And the kind of situations I imagined or assumed do not happen as often in reality.
Right.
So I did not really get wet those many times that I imagined I would. right? So I slowly, excluded taking so many clothes, which I did not need. Also, I started taking only one pair of footwear with me, maybe one pair of shoe and one pair of flip-flops,
Yeah.
right? So I slowly started making it light packing because it's difficult for you to carry so much luggage on your shoulders with a tripod, with a GoPro and a phone to manage. Then I have a small pouch on myself where I keep my, change handy because I'm traveling in a bus. I can't always open my backpack because it's on my shoulder. So I turned from a heavy packer to a light packer because of my travel style.
Got it. Yeah. That is another thing that a lot of people kind of do is being overcautious. I know a lot of my friends. I'm a super light packer, by the way. If I'm traveling for a week, you would hardly see like 3 or 4 pairs of t-shirts, probably a couple of shirts, one track, and like maybe a couple of jeans. That's it.
This is the 10th lie of the day and nobody believes you anymore.
I have proof. Bogus, open your mouth, ha ha ha, and tell everybody. I legit, if given a chance, I can fit all this into a laptop bag and I carry it around. But I've seen people who do what you mentioned, right? Like they overplan stuff and like, what if this happens? What if that happens?
Yeah.
And I should carry an umbrella also. What if it rains there? Or like, I don't know, raincoat. Like I've seen people carry the weirdest of things.
Yes.
I once saw a friend of mine who was going on a bike ride to Goa and he carried like an axle rod. He said like, what if it's a fork rod, sorry. He carried a fork rod of his bike and he was like, what if the fork breaks? And like, are you kidding me? Like, how bad do you think you're a rider? Like, so, I mean, I've seen very overcautious, travelers also. So, but that's not really advised. Travel light, travel long. That should be the mantra. And that brings us to the end of the episode with ThyGap and GullyTrotter, where we speak about travel from Gully's perspective and then we disagree from ThyGap's perspective, basically from Brut's perspective. Bogus might agree to a lot of things that you said, by the way.
So the next episode I'll do with him.
You should do with Bogus because I'm tired talking about travel where I'm like, no, you shouldn't travel so much. Like, just sit and rest, bro.
Same here. Even I am not very curious to do.
I don't think ThyGap will ever do another episode of travel, by the way. We've spoken so much about travel that ThyGap's travel has ended right here.
No, I'm sure your listeners want to definitely listen more.
If we hear one person
stuff.
write to us saying that we want to know more from Gully, I kid you not, I will definitely not come and I'll send Bogus and both of you can record a great episode. Last and final segment, Gully. Any advice that you want to give to all the listeners? Advice. Start traveling. That's a simple advice. So that's it, guys. That is today's episode. It's our conversation with GullyTrotter about travel, her journey about how she bit the travel bug, how she went about places, all about solo traveling and especially for female solo traveling. And most importantly, her journey on the Instagram where she became like kind of an Instagram influencer. That's what she says. And I believe that. So with that, we've come to the end of this episode. Like we always say, ThyGap Podcast, subscribe
and share
and travel and send us money. Donations.
Okay, bye.